Now we got it. I'm tripping. We losing connection. I'm not
We in
recording this
here,
shit.
baby.
Okay. All right, we got to start. Restart it for the YouTube real quick, man. No, don't bump with the music because it's gonna get taken down. But okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another very special episode with a very special guest. And y'all know this man if y'all listened to the podcast before. He was our last guest we actually had in person before the COVID and quarantine hit, and we all got kicked out the studio. And he was the last person we talked to. I still remember the conversation we had because you asked us how concerned we were about the COVID thing. And I was like, man, it's not looking too good. And like a few days later, they shut down the entire country.
Yeah, it's crazy because you was our last guest, and that was the last time I actually saw Ryan Rocket.
Wow.
I've seen this dude since. We've been doing the podcast just like this.
Yeah.
I am so grateful for that weekend because I came to Texas. I played 2 shows, played Houston, played Austin, stayed in both cities for a few days and went to other concerts and went to parties and saw family and saw friends, like really did it up. And a lot of that leisurely hanging out was on a whim because my trip was supposed to be short, but I was having so much fun and I hadn't been home in a minute. I was like, let me just kick it here longer. I don't have anything else I need to be back home for, right? And man, I'm just so thankful that I did because I haven't been hanging out like that since then.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing, man. You never know what's gonna happen, man. Like I always think it's corny when people say you got to live every day like it's your last or some shit like that, because I'm like, nobody can really live like that. But you really never know what's gonna happen in the world, man. If we had any clue that we would be shut down as a country for 3 months, I'm sure we would have done a lot more when we could have during that last week. But I digress. We're getting off topic, man. We got to introduce this man. The great, talented Fat Tony is joining us again to discuss his album, to discuss everything going on. I also saw you made an appearance on one of my favorite shows. We're going to talk about that as well. Nice. And get into everything going on, man. But first off, the last time we talked to you was on a Zoom call. We did a whole little Houston check-in with everybody during the quarantine, make sure all of our guests were doing good and safe and all that. How you been since then, man? How you been maintaining? I know you've been creating. You've been heavy on Instagram Live. You've been heavy in the lab, producing, recording, all that stuff. So how have you been personally during this time, bro?
Man, I can't lie. I've been feeling really good, and I feel really lucky that I went into the pandemic with this Exotica project already recorded and already planned to come out this October. So pretty much throughout the quarantine, me and my producer Gold and I spent our time mixing the album, switching up some of the production, planning out videos, shooting videos, keeping them safe too. At first I thought it'd be really tough to go out there and shoot videos, but I remember typically when I shoot a video, it's like 2, 3, 4, 5 people tops around, so it was easy to mask up and keep it safe during the video shoots. So I had my mind occupied, and I think a lot of people were really losing it because they didn't have anything on the horizon to look forward to. So it really felt stuck. There was a moment where I felt that back in March when everything started to shut down, like that, sense of panic that we all felt. But about a month into it, I started to look at what I have before me with this album and other projects that I'm working on. And I just thought, you know what? Rather than stress out and panic and try to do something new, let me double down on what I've been preparing for anyway and use this time to really refine it and be really thoughtful about creating this rollout.
That's inspiring, man. I think you hit a very salient point there too. The keeping your mind occupied was very, very crucial. Me personally, I went through a lot of anxiety because I'm like, man, I thought my company was going to go under. I wasn't working on anything particular. Our podcast, we had no idea what's going to happen to it because we couldn't get in the studio no more. So yeah, it was a very anxious time, but a lot of people were able to create. We talked to Jack last week too. He said he was able to make some new songs and stay focused. So that is a very important thing during that time, was to, if you have something to work on, that was the time to work on it because you needed to keep your mind occupied while all that shit was going on, man. So
yeah.
I do want to talk about this project though, man. You released it. It's called Exotica, and this is how I know the internet has ruined my mind, because when I heard the title Exotica, I think of the adult film convention, the porno convention that happens every year. So I heard that shit, and I was.
It's funny because on the song "Feeling Groovy," I started off saying, "Can't believe I never seen ya over there looking like an 8th Street Latina," and that's the first song from this album. So if you already had porn on your mind and heard that, I could see you thinking like, "Damn, is Fat Tony dropping a fucking AVN album or what?"
And only old school porn heads know about 8th Street Latinas, man. That was a very deep reference you dropped, man. Not everybody's gonna get that, but I caught that. I was like, okay.
Yeah, man. Because that guy in that song, like, first of all, this album is all about storytelling, and in every song, I'm either playing a character or I'm playing the narrator. And in Feeling Groovy, it's about a guy, married man, probably middle-aged, dad, who is in an unhappy relationship, and he's starting to look elsewhere, right? And he sees a woman, and for maybe the first time in a long time, he has a rush of desire. He is feeling frenzied. He's feeling panic. He's like contemplating, should I start my life over, leave my family? Like, he's kind of lost. And it's exactly the type of nigga who was probably an 8th Street Latina fan back in the day. And he's smoking Black and Milds.
Oh, man, you're describing me now, man. I'm feeling triggered here, dog.
Oh, man.
So, you talked about a little bit on Twitter about the creation of this album. I think it's very interesting. So walk us through that. How was this album conceived? How'd you come up with the title? How was this conceived originally when you thought about this album, the concepts, the storytelling, and the title and all that?
So the producer, Goldeneye, formerly known as Tom Cruise, has been my longest musical partner. I met him back in 2007, and we've worked on most of my albums together. And this project is the first time that we fully did an album together. The last time that we fully did a project together was Smart Ass Black Boy, which came out in 2013. And since then, he has produced on my albums, but we haven't locked in the way that we did 8 years ago, right? And for the last 2 or 3 years, we were talking about making an album like this, about making an album that drew on these influences from like different styles of music, styles of thought, styles of art, and wanting to do something that was very storytelling focused, right? And we didn't have a title or a label deal or anything going on at the time. So we would just talk about how when we have it set up, let's do it. You know what I mean? We didn't want to half-ass it, send it back and forth. Because also over these past 5 years, he has left the United States. He is originally from Atlanta and has family in Houston and in Austin too. But him and his wife and their daughter moved out to Jamaica. His dad is Jamaican and his wife's mom is Jamaican. So they felt like this would be a great place to raise their kid, get in touch with their cultures, and also for like them being, you know, Jamaican Americans, really see what it would be like to be in their homeland. And that created a kind of distance where we couldn't even really make music, sending it back and forth over the email, because you know, even during times where we didn't live in the same place, but we lived in the States, it was like, oh, well, you live somewhere where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be there for like a show or something, so we can link up. But moving to a different country, it makes it a little. Didn't want to half-ass. We wanted to make it right. So finally, last year, a situation came around where it worked. I signed a new label deal. I had a proper budget for it. And I was like, all right, now it's go time. Let's get in the studio and really plan out this album. And during our writing sessions, just naturally, all these conversations that we had over the years started to come out. Like, we're pulling out old beats that we made over this time and different lyrics and just all these different ideas. And as I'm looking at them, I'm like, wow, I remember being in my mom's kitchen like 2 or 3 years ago, having this exact same conversation with you about making a song like this. So it felt like all that prep that we were doing in the back of our minds was worth it. even though we didn't know that it was something that we would remember like that, right? And when we locked in on this album, we decided to be really careful and thoughtful about every choice. All the concepts for the songs, all the characters for the songs, all the musical choices, all the production choices. Like, we would spend hours every day working on each song. And at the time, I lived in Brooklyn. So he flew from Jamaica to come to Brooklyn. I rented studio time, and we spent a week just writing everything, just like figuring out what the foundation of the album is. After that week was done, we had all 9 songs. Not fully formed, but at least we had the chorus and a verse and the foundation of the beat and an idea of how they all work with each other, right? And this is really different from how I've made albums before, because so many times we make albums like, let's just make a bunch of songs, look at all the material we have, and then try to pick the best out of it. But rather than like that approach, before we even committed to making a song, we thought long and hard, does this fit into the overall concept that we're trying to push with this record? And it was really challenging, honestly, to write from a short fiction storytelling perspective, because my last couple albums, I was more so opening up about my personal life, like talking about my family, talking about my spouse, talking about like my real day-to-day life. And to break out of that into the storytelling mode was such a challenge, but it was fun, and I think it made me really stronger as a writer. Like, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this is the album that him and I have worked the hardest on.
You mentioned him moving to Jamaica. Did this album have any Jamaica influence on it? Because it sounds real tropical.
Well, I think just him being a Jamaican dude, I think that there are some of those influences that come through naturally in his musical choices. But we made a point to not do reggae in an overt way or dance hall in an overt way, because we felt like it is so typical for a foreigner to go to Jamaica and be like, oh, now I'm here to make a reggae album. You know, I actually read, I was reading an article recently about a Rolling Stones album that they recorded out there back in the day. And as part of this old article, they were bragging about how, yo, we're like coming out here to make our album, but we're not making reggae. Like we just coming out here because it's a beautiful place. You know, I wanted to go to Jamaica not only because Goldeneye lives there, but because I know it's such a rich musical place of all types of music. You know, when I go to Jamaica, you will hear rap music, pop music, 80s music, 90s music, R&B, gospel, rock music. Like, people just love music of all forms from all over the world. And I felt like that's a really healthy place to be while I'm in this recording mode. And it's also a place where we wouldn't be distracted. You know, we like rented a home studio in Stony Hill, this beautiful, basically a mansion, right? So we're cut off from everything. We can't walk anywhere. Like, there's no store or anything like walking distance. So when we're working on this project there, we are locked in 8 to 12 hours a day, sitting on this property in this studio, writing, recording, and just locked in, which I think is really important, because it's so easy to go to Houston or to Los Angeles and then be like, oh, I have friends I want to see, or I want to go to this party, or I want to go to this restaurant. It's like, no, cut off everything and just focus.
Makes sense, man. And yeah, I did kind of peep a kind of a trop. Maybe it was just me, but I heard like a kind of a tropical influence on some of the songs, man. Especially the first one, "What Wake You Up." It kind of reminded me of the game Super Mario Sunshine a little bit, which is the highest compliment, because I love that game, man.
Thank you, man.
So
I mean, video game music is something that I think him and I both came up loving, like not as something that we want to purposely put into our music, but just through conversations, I think we both discovered that some of our first loves of music were like those, you know, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis games, and those like sounds were kind of etched into our brains first as this is what I like, and we're playing games as kids, so we hear it over and over again. I think that's something that is just gonna stick with us because of our generation. We can't even help it.
Yeah, that's the one thing I like about this album too. It kind of, not saying it's a video game type of album, but it kind of got that flavor to it.
Yeah.
It's not the typical sound you hear, walking down the street with the regular 808s and the, trap snares and stuff like that. It actually got the video game sounds in it.
In this bitch, like if you put on Man and you got some like bang in your trunk, you gonna beat down the block. Like we were abusing the 808s on that song. Straight up.
So tell us how you linked up with Bun B for this first song, because I guess his verse is probably the most candid Bun B verse I heard in a long time. It seemed like it was like a grown, to me, it felt like a grown man Bun B, where he was like spitting some wisdom on it. And I felt like that was the perfect, I don't want to say it was a challenge for him, but I felt like that type of beat you really don't hear Bun B on. And I felt like you kind of made him step up on that to, actually bring some wisdom on that song. So how did you link up with Bun B on that?
Thank you, man. And I think that he did that too, and that's what I was looking for in him. So on that song, the very first lyrics I say, I don't wonder why. I just wake up and I wipe the crust from my eye. Like a couple weeks before GoldenEye came to Brooklyn for our writing sessions, I woke up one day at like 6 a.m. It's still dark outside, and I go to the bathroom to wash my face, and that rhyme just comes to me out of nowhere. And I just think to myself like, oh, that'd be a cool way to start a verse, right? So when we got into the writing sessions, we were having a conversation about like, we want to make a song where people can examine their motivations. Like you notice during the chorus, I'm saying like, what gets you up in the morning? Is it money? Are you looking for respect? Are you looking for love? Are you encouraged by, something that you hate? Like what is it that is driving you to get up and keep pushing toward whatever your goals are? And is that something that is pure, or is that something that is attached to something that is superficial? That's ultimately what I'm saying. And ultimately saying that we should be grateful for our lives. Like you notice during my verses, I am saying, the priest lives like this, the doctor lives like this, the mother lives like this, the cop lives like this. And it's all these people who are having good things happen and bad things happen, but they keep it pushing. And I wanted to show people that you don't have to compare yourself to everybody. Everybody has ups and downs. Focus on your life and understand that no matter who you are and what you're going through, you have a lot to be thankful for. And I asked Bun B to basically sum up everything that I was trying to say with my imagery, just in a really direct and clear way. And it's funny because, this album is full of stories, but there are all these stories behind the scenes of making the album. Like we had our own challenges and our own adventures. How Bun got on this record, he texted me because he saw on Instagram that I was out in Jamaica, and he told me that he was there too. And I was like, wow, this is fucking fate. Like Bun is here. I'm making an album. We're both in this foreign country. We gotta link up. So I text him our studio address, and I'm like, bro, just like pull up. I'm like super geeked. And he's like, well, actually, I'm in Montego Bay, and I was in Kingston. Those cities are 4 hours apart on the opposite side of the country.
Wow.
But rather than let that hold us back, I rented an Airbnb. Me and GoldenEye packed up some like mobile studio equipment, drove out to Montego Bay for one day to go and record him. Now, Bun was out there with his wife for her birthday. So it wasn't like he was there to record or play a show. It was strictly vacation family time. So we get to Montego Bay and we're like playing phone tag all day. He's like, yo, we have all these plans, but I have some free time at this time. And then he texts me, oh, actually, she wants to go and get a massage. So maybe around this time. Then it's like, oh, actually, she wants to go and get a drink. Maybe this time. You know, it's his wife's birthday. What she says goes, and him coming to record with his partner was not in her plans, right? But finally, he got a window of opportunity to come through. He had like 30 minutes free, came over to the Airbnb, chopped it up for like 5 or 10 minutes. I played him the song twice, basically explained what I just told y'all about what the song's about. And the whole time that I'm talking and playing the music, his head is down looking at his phone and he's just typing. Played the song twice and he was like, yo, I'm ready. Got up, laid the verse down, and honestly, the first take was perfect. We recorded a safety take just in case, but he killed it, nailed it perfectly the first time. The first words that he says are what you hear on the actual record. As soon as he was done, played it back, he was happy with it, and he was like, all right, guys, I'm out. And he walked off back to his hotel. And it just really, I mean, it didn't dawn on me, but it just really showed me what a professional he is. Like, only someone who has been rapping and writing songs for decades like him can hear a concept, hear a song, know what the song needs, and execute the recording with all the pressure of his wife waiting for him. We're in a foreign country. Like, none of that mattered. He was so calm, cool, collected, and confident about it. It was really amazing. And yeah. Drop some air horns on that, man. Drop some air horns on that. But you know, something else I kind of realized with this album is, you know, UGK is my favorite rap group. And me and the producer Goldeneye have such a connection to UGK that only destiny could make happen. When Goldeneye and I first met, he was in a rap group that was signed to a major label, and they were going to get a session with Mike Dean. So Goldeneye traveled from Atlanta to Houston to come work with Mike Dean. This was December of 2007. And right before he got to Houston, Pimp C died. So all the sessions he had planned with Mike Dean were all canceled because Mike Dean wasn't working then. He was mourning. And because of all that extra free time that he had, me and Goldeneye started kicking it a lot. And that's when we decided to make music together. And that blossomed into this long working relationship and this whole career. And now, coming full circle, we now have an album together with the other half of UGK, Bun B, on it. And it's not the first time that we've worked with him. He was on our Double Dragon mixtape back in 2012. But that was just a mixtape, and it was so early on in my career. I don't think people are going to hear that song the way they're going to hear this one. This feels like the first time that people are really seeing Fat Tony and Bun B on the same record together. And I think there's something special about it, like just the whole way it came together. Like you can't make it up. You know what I mean? Only fate could call for this to happen.
That really is dope, man. That's a great story. And that speaks to Bun's character too, man. To take time out of his wife's birthday party and whole vacation to come and link up and record a song like that, man, that's powerful, man. So
yeah. And that's even dope for the simple fact that, you know, because you got some people that go through that same thing, but the artists always look pressed, like, oh yeah, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? But for the simple fact that he was down for it, he was like, you know what, let me, you know, let's try to work around it. It's her birthday, but you know, as soon as I get some free time, I got you. Like, he didn't even have to do that, but that show you what type of person he is and how he really fuck with you. Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely, man.
I don't think he would have did that with me. He would be like, nah.
You're like, nah, man.
I'll catch you next time.
But you know what? Like Bun, I've known Bun for a long time. I've never asked him to do anything that I didn't believe that I didn't believe in. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, I met him about a decade ago. And in that time, this is only the second time I've asked him to make music with me. You know, anybody like that, that's an artist that I truly respect. If I'm coming to you, it's not gonna be no bullshit. It's like I'm not just coming to you to make a track that's like hot because you got a name. Like I'm coming to you because I respect what you do, and I know what you do, and your voice is gonna fit the vision of this project I'm making.
And it really did, man. That was a great track. Great, like Figgy said, Bun B fitted perfectly. Verses complemented each other perfectly. Production was great. Great song, man. So, yeah, everything definitely did come together on that track.
That's the one. I feel like that's something Bun B don't get enough credit for. He can fit on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of rappers can't, only fit towards one thing, but he can actually fit on everything. He got like a crazy catalog. When you really look at it, he can fit. He can fit anywhere, man.
Man, I just love rappers who are like a god MC. Like people like him or Ghostface or any of these greats, they are respected for their craft, not just for how many hits they have. Even if they have hits, people are like, no, a fucking god is about to touch the mic. And I feel like that level of respect is the best that any artist can ask for, where people fuck with you because they love what you do. Whether it's being championed or not, people know that if you're making music, it's going to be something that is quality first and foremost.
You gotta get him on the podcast, man.
And we're gonna make it happen
sure.
one day, man. Yeah, for sure. People sleep on his pen too. People think like, since he's out here teaching college courses and all this shit that he was rapping that murder shit back in the day, dog.
Yeah.
Like people sleep on his pen, man. He was a beast. He still is. I do want to ask you though, I did hear the song Special Girl as well, and I thought it was an interesting choice for you to use the Q-Tip Vibrant Thing lyrics in the chorus for that song. Talk about that song a little bit, man, because that's kind of, I feel like everybody acts like they love Vibrant Thing now, but back in the day, all these old school hip hop heads were very disappointed, talking very critical of that era of Q-Tip, because they like A Tribe Called Quest, and that did not sound like the Tribe sound, the native tongue sounded. It was more poppy to them. So a lot of people in like the real hip hop heads, quote unquote, they hated on that song, man. But what is your relationship to that song, and what went into the choice of using that for the song Special Girl?
Well, I'm a huge Tribe Called Quest fan. Back in high school, I had a rap group that I named the Low Ends because I love the album Low End Theory, and I love that Q-Tip solo album too. Like just hands down, he's one of my favorite rappers, producers, artists, just period. I think he's dope all around, and I've never, because of my age, I found out about Tribe Called Quest in the 2000s, and that Vibrant Thing song was just a song that I heard like on the radio as a kid that I liked because I liked any rap song that was on TV and on the radio because I just loved rap music. So I never, and just period, even though when I was coming up, there was still that like division in like rap of like either you're like a backpacker or you like gangster rap, or you screwhead, or you only like West Coast rap.
Or you got a shiny suit on.
Yeah, and I always liked everything. I always liked all rap. But with this song, Special Girl, I wanted to do a love song that didn't come off feeling so mushy and corny. Like, I try to approach this album vocally like I'm just spitting. Like I'm like spitting like I'm like in like a cipher or something. I didn't perform that song like you would think someone would perform a song that's for the ladies. You feel me? I felt like that would be a little too typical and kind of corny. And I love those rhymes because I think it illustrates that same sentiment of like, yo, I'm like shouting out this girl that I'm down for, that I love, that I'm loyal to. But I'm also a real nigga to be rhyming, and like I'm like also gonna like flex on you about how I'm the coldest and how I'm like getting money and like doing my thing too in the same breath. You know what I mean? I feel like back in the day, there was this idea of when artists were making albums, rappers would be like, oh, I got my club songs here, I got my For the Ladies songs here, and I've never wanted to be an artist like that. So if I'm doing any song that might feel the least bit typical, there's something I want to do with either my performance or with the production to kind of flip it on its head and make it feel new and original.
You did a good job, man. Like you said, it is tough to make a song like that and have it not come off contrived or corny because, you know, but no, you did a good job with it, man. Actually, the whole album, you know, a very, very great sound. I'm a big fan of it. And I do know that you're a great live artist as well. And I'm sure you're itching to perform these songs live, man.
Yeah, man. Very badly. Very badly.
When do you plan to return? Because I know some artists are already kind of coming back into the live performance thing with, of course, you know, limited audience and social distance and sanitize and all this stuff. Jack Freeman's been doing shows out here as well. So when do you plan to actually return to live performing? And how soon do you think that'll be?
Well, actually, I'm going to do one soon. I have one show for the rest of this year. One show that's in person. That's not a live stream show. It's in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
On November 6th. I will be performing this new album in its entirety. And it's a new stage show. It's like, you will feel the difference in this performance versus me performing my past records. Like everything around this album, I want to make it a statement. I want to make it very clear that this mode of Exotica is a new chapter for me as an artist. And that's the only show I have planned that's going to be in person. It's an outdoor show. It's at a venue called the Far Out in South Austin, Texas. And I picked this show because a bunch of my friends there told me that the place is safe. They've been doing shows, and I felt confident that I wouldn't be putting people at risk who want to come to this show. You know, there's a few other places that I was talking to about doing an outdoor show, but I just didn't have the confidence about the way they were running it based on what I heard. But this place, I've heard nothing but good things, and I'm very excited to at least have one chance while the album is fresh to perform it for y'all.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Is it still possible to get tickets to this show? Or is it already sold out? Or?
No, it's totally possible. I don't think that they're doing the pre-sale tickets because of the cap. They can't let as many people in, so it's really like first come, first served.
Oh, okay.
It's a cheap ticket. It's $10, and I'm about to really give y'all a show.
Okay. When is November? Look that up. I might take a trip, man. I got some folks out there. So
GoldenEye's coming too. He's flying in from Kingston. So we like really doing it big. You know what I mean?
Okay. So might make a trip out there, man. Might stay with my folks out there because I know that's gonna be lit, man. I've been itching to get back into to see another live show, man. It's been too long. So
yeah.
I have to make that happen, bro.
So, what's up? This is an off the wall question. What's up with our girl Rosario? What's up with Rosario dog?
I don't know, my nigga. I don't even know. She probably chilling, man. I actually talked to her at the top of quarantine. I think she moved back to the East Coast. But man, I have to tap in with her, man. I think she good though.
Okay, should, man. You should.
Nigga say, yo, I got an off the wall question. How's Rosario, Dawson?
I'm thinking about the last time you was in studio and you told us that story, and that was so random. Like what?
Man, it's crazy. You know, there's many people like that. Like even like Bun B. The first time that I met him was at a radio station. I did an interview there, my first interview. And he was there too, and I took a pic with him, and I was like super geeked. And for years after that, I would go to his, shows, his, CD signings, like I was just a fan. Never approached him. And this one day, he tweeted about me. When I put out my first album, Rabda Gap, he tweeted, "Fat Tony is Houston's best kept secret. Tell him I told you about it." And after that, I was like, oh, interesting. Like, how does he even know who I am? And then I went to a show and he was there and he motioned for me to like come over to the back and we like smoked the blunt and just chopped it up. And I was just like, damn, like someone that I admire or like someone that's like has like certain like status or whatever reached out to me. You just never know who's like looking. Honestly, you like never know who is watching you, who is listening to you. You know, I feel like if you're doing your thing as an artist and you're really killing it, you'll have eyes on you from people you would have never imagined would be checking for you. And every now and then they'll actually holler at you and let you know that they fucking with what you're doing.
Very true, man. You never know, so you got to conduct yourself appropriately. Don't talk too much shit about people either. Like that's one thing. Which you never know who's listening. You never know who's a fan. So
be funny if I had mad like tweets like, "Yo, Bun is overrated. This nigga wag." Like I can't believe y'all fuck with this shit.
You never know, man. You really never know. So I got to ask you about this too, man, because I saw. My favorite TV show is making its a comeback for a new season, and I saw you're going to be on it, man. It's the Eric Andre show. New season is starting soon. I'm a big fan, man. I like that kind of humor. I grew up watching like Space Ghost and Wonder shows and Tom Green show, so I'm a huge fan of the Eric Andre show, dog. And I saw you're on that show for this new season. So tell me about that. Tell me how you linked up with Eric Andre and how that taping went and how that whole link up happened.
Bro, it's the exact same situation. He DM'd me. Eric Andre DM'd me like 3 years ago and was like, bro, I love your song BKNY, You're a Legend. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know we had no like friends in common, you know what I mean? Totally random. Didn't live in the same city at the time, and just like started like kicking it with him. Like after that, he like came to Houston, played a show. I pulled up, then I went to LA before I was living there to go to his birthday party, and then when I did live in LA, I would go to his house sometime and just like kind of like link up. And I played his birthday party last year, and then a few months after that, his like people reached out to me to book me for it. Like he never even, it like wasn't like some, yo, hey Tony, you down to do it? Or I have an idea. It was like, I am representing the Eric Andre show and I would like to offer your, they like messaged my manager like, yo, I'd like to offer your client to come in. What the fuck? Another random thing. What I'm doing on this season is I'm in an episode of Rapper Warrior Ninja where they basically get like rappers to freestyle while they torture you. And and I've seen a segment before, and it's usually like 2 or 3 artists doing it. Like I've seen like Danny Brown and Open Mike Eagle and Rocky do it. But this time when I pulled up to set, it was like a fucking festival. It was 1 million rappers in there. Lil Yachty was there, Danny Brown, Freddie Gibbs, Talib Kweli, Murs, Kuko, JPEG Mafia, Zach Fox. Like it was like 30 Trippie Redd. It was like 30 rappers in there, and they basically just lined us up, and we all went through a different obstacle course. Mine, I'm like hanging from the fucking ceiling. I'm getting hit with some road spray. I'm getting spanked by a dominatrix. The whole time I'm like trying to like rap, but I wasn't bullshitting. I was like, yo, if I'm gonna do a freestyle, I'm about to give y'all bars this whole time. I'm not giving y'all no like goofy shit. So listen to it, man. My episode, I think it comes out the first week of December. And yeah, listen close, man. I am spitting on there no matter what I'm getting hit with.
I'm definitely check that out, man. Like I said, I'm a big fan of that show, so I'm gonna definitely be watching and keep a lookout. And everybody, if you haven't seen that show yet, man, I don't know how to describe it. You really can't. But if you like
absurd,
pure off the wall humor, I definitely recommend you check out the Eric Andre show. It's on Hulu, and you can find it if you look for it.
Yeah, brand new season. I think it comes out tomorrow. The first episode comes out tomorrow, October 25th on Adult Swim. So yeah, check them out, man. I think that this season I've like seen a few clips of it. I think this might be his best season, and he gained weight for it. He shaved his head.
I saw he shaved his head, man. Like,
yeah,
okay.
Even pulling up to set, and he was bald and like kind of fat. I'm like, plus he's like 30 rappers. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Hey, he's crazy. Right. I'm looking forward to it, man. I already know. I didn't know it was coming so soon, though. Good looking out. So I'm going to definitely check that shit out, man. It's hilarious. If you haven't seen that show, I definitely recommend you watch it because it's fucking hilarious, man. So what was I going to ask? Oh, yeah. One thing I want to ask you, too, because you did mention that this album is like a new beginning in your new direction of where you see yourself as an artist now. And I know some artists have some trouble ranking their projects, but I'm always interested in where artists rank their projects. I thought it was big when Jay-Z did his ranking of his, because I'm a big Jay stan. And when he did his ranking, but he listed it by, the order of his album cases on a picture on Instagram or Twitter or wherever he posted it. And he kind of explained too, like, this is where, Reasonable Doubt is here, Volume 1's here. And I think it's very interesting for an artist, especially one with a deep catalog, to look back and say, okay, this was my best project and this one was not so great. So where do you rank your discography in general? And where would you put this album? I know it's still fresh, so it's probably close to the top. But looking back, where would you kind of rank your discography as far, and where do you think this new album would fit in there currently?
Man, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that this new album, Exotica, is my best album. It is the album that I not only have enjoyed making the most, but it's the album of mine that I've listened to the most. And I think that there's just something very special with this album where I can show off on a production side the unique sound that me and Goldeneye have made. I can also show off my versatility as a songwriter through storytelling. You also get a bit of my personality through all the songs, different sides of myself. I feel like this is my most complete project that I've made yet, and I would always start with recommending this album for anybody who is new to me or a longtime fan. I'm kind of wondering how I'm gonna top it, to be honest with you. But out of my other projects, I feel like I like all my albums for different reasons, because I can see where I was at in my life with all of them. Like on Rap Gab, my first album, I'm like rapping really like fast. I just sound so like hungry. Like I sound like I'm trying to get every word I've ever thought of. Cause with my first album, I'm thinking back to all the rhymes I wrote in middle school, all the rhymes I wrote in high school, and I'm just thinking like, yo, like every idea I've ever had about a song, this is my time to get it out. Like you make your first album, you don't know if you're gonna get a chance to make some more music or if people are gonna care. So you're really giving it your all. And that's the album that I spent the longest time on. Like we worked on that album for like 2.5 years. You know what I mean? Just like really changing it and like recording so many different songs and so many different beats and like just really being so excited. Also at that time, a lot of my homies had just built their like studios for the first time. So it was like, while I'm making my first album, they're getting their first studios off. Who worked on that album of like, this is our first chance to really do what we've been thinking about doing for all these years. And that album will always be special to me for that reason. But as far as my best, I would say that my new album, Exotica, is my best album. I think my second best is Smart Ass Black Boy, because that's an album where we had so many fucked up, hard things happen to us at the start of that process. Like my grandmother passed away when we started making that album. Me and Goldeneye were like super broke and pretty much homeless for like a couple months, crashing with our friends. Like some of the songs on that album, like Father's Day About My Dad or Hood Party, those are a couple songs that we wrote when we were crashing on our friend's couch in Jersey City, New Jersey, because we couldn't afford a place in Brooklyn, and we fell out with the people that we were staying with there, and we had zero money. We were eating their leftovers. We were like drinking rum every day to go to sleep because alcohol's cheap. And we were just sitting there like, man, we don't have shit. My like grandma was sick. I knew that she was gonna pass soon. We were just like at our lowest, but we still were like, we're gonna make this work. I remember I like helped my friend move his apartment for like $100, like $50, so I could have like money to eat. Like everything was looking down, but we were like, we still gonna make this music and try to make the best of our lives. And I think that hard period happened right at the start, but then good things started to happen shortly after. I got my first record deal. The A$AP Rocky tape came out that I'm on, and like that opened doors for me. Like all these opportunities came out of this moment where we were like, yo, everything is fucked up. Nothing's ever gonna get good again. And I think that to see that shift happen before our very eyes just made us so grateful and made us locked in even harder to make the rest of that album. So that album will always be at the top as like a special one. And that's another one that's much like this album where we thought long and hard about the concepts of each song. I think that I wasn't as fully developed as a vocalist at that point. Like I think I could have delivered a better performance on some of those songs, but my mind was in the right place. And I think anybody rocking with me during that album could see the vision of where this train's going. So I put Smart As Black Boy, my second favorite album, Grab the Gab, my third favorite album, because it's my first and it's special too. And after that, I would put Wake Up, my album right before this new one, because that was one where, that was the first album where I was really conscious of my vocal performance and like trying to really dial it in. And I think I nailed it there. And my last two, I kind of want to tie 10,000 Hours and McGregor Park. And I put those two at the bottom, even though they are full of songs that I love. But those were the albums that were the loosest, where I didn't zero in on like the concepts throughout the album. Those were two albums where I was just making mad music, and I put together the best of what I had at the time. And I felt like I chose some awesome songs, and like a few songs on those albums are some of my best songs, but I think as a whole, they don't hold up as fully formed projects the way these other projects do. I think Exotica, Smart As Black Boy, Rabda Gab, Wake Up are my most cohesive albums. And you know what? I kind of forget something. I have this album called Double Dragon that's not on Spotify, right? Because we put it out in 2012, and that was the era where it was like, you like put an album out on like Dat Piff or on live mixtapes or on SoundCloud. So we just had our album up there. We didn't think that Spotify and all this stuff was coming, so we didn't care about getting that album on there. So that's an album that I think a lot of my audience hasn't heard because it's kind of lost to time. You can only really get it on Bandcamp now. But I re-listened to that album when we were working on this new one, and me and Goldeneye were really shocked at how good it was. Like that was, like I had that hard time when we were trying to make Smart As Black Boy. And then I had all this good stuff happen, got my first record deal. Me and him moved to Los Angeles for the first time. And that first month, we were like, yo, before we work on our album, Smart As Black Boy, let's just make a mixtape for fun with both of us rapping on it. Goldeneye's rapping too, like we're a duo. And our goal was just to be spitting and having fun. And I think that burst of energy of being in like a new place and being young and like coming out of this hard period just made us rap our ass off and get super duper creative. So honestly, to make my final list, I'd put Exotica number 1. I'd put Smart As Black Boy number 2, Double Dragon number 3,
okay,
Rabda Gab number 4, Wake Up number 5, 10,000 Hours number 6, and McGregor Park number 7. That's my top list for my music.
Man, you got 3 more albums to number 10, man.
You're almost there, dog.
Working on it, man.
No, I appreciate that self-awareness, man. A lot of artists can't honestly take a look at their work and critique it like that. So I think that's very impressive. Also, a great point about the mixtapes that get lost to time. I don't know if people will really realize how much great music is left on the mixtapes that will probably never get put on the mainstream streaming services. Yeah. Lil Wayne's best work, I believe, was on his mixtapes that you can only get on Dat Piff. Like, he tried to put one of his older mixtapes, but it was missing like 10 songs. I forget what it was called. It was a No Ceilings, I think. He put that on recently, but it was missing. Some of the best songs were off that, probably because of sample and clearance issues. So, if Dat Piff ever goes away, man, that'll be a whole lot of hip hop history lost.
That is a gold app to have, man. Like, just have Dat Piff app. You can go through all type of stuff that you'll never find.
All the Dipset mixtapes on there, the G Unit mixtapes, man, all that stuff will be lost to time if we ever lose that site. So get everything while you can.
That is some of my biggest advice to artists, though. Like, be sure to archive your work. Like, I keep some hard drives here with all my shit because I've gone through losing a laptop or losing a hard drive and like losing music. Like, I don't have the session files to my first album because we weren't keeping up with it. You know, as like time goes on, you like start to see the importance of owning your stuff. And I think we can't trust any of these companies to keep our stuff up there. Like look at a MySpace, which was like a music mecca for many years, and many of that data is lost to time. The same thing can happen to Spotify or to SoundCloud. You never know, man. So keep up with all your material so that you can always get it to people and it is preserved.
Very true, man. I don't think we didn't really appreciate the internet for what it was back then. It was really the Wild West, dog. Wasn't no DMCA takedowns, wasn't no copyright claims. You could just take another nigga's beat and rap over it and put that out there and sell it, and you would be okay. But now it's a different game, man. You can't do that no more.
It's crazy because I remember performing songs and it was one show, you know how you had to pay for the show to get on stage and all this other stuff. I remember right before I went on stage, this dude, his last song was one of the beats I had. So we went to the same damn website. So it went from his beat, the way he did that song, and then I came on right after and performed the same, pretty much performed the same damn beat. So I'm just like, man, he took my beat, man. Blah, blah. But we both didn't pay for it. So we just like took it.
Man,
it was wild.
But also during that time, it's kind of like dancehall music. Like in dancehall, a producer drops a rhythm and then mad artists get up on that, and whoever has the best song rises to the top. I feel like during that mixtape era, it was the same shit. Like Lil Wayne would like hop on the same beat, Jadakiss would hop on, that Fabulous would hop on, but whoever killed it the hardest, that's the song that we remember. So at that show, if your song was a better song than that last dude, the crowd would have forgot his shit and be like, yo, it's this nigga beat now.
Yeah, that's fact.
That's true. Lil Wayne stole the "Show Me What You Got" beat, man. That's not Jay-Z, and I'm a Jay-Z stan. That ain't Jay-Z's song no more after Lil Wayne dropped that verse, man.
Yeah,
he took that song from Jay. I got to admit that. So we don't want to hold you too long, man. We know you're a very busy man. You got anything else? You mentioned you have a show coming up. Anything else planned? And also PS5 or Xbox Series X, man. Which one you copping?
Oh, I want to cop. So I haven't been a gamer in a long time, but my homie just got the new Tony Hawk. I think he has PS4. Mm-hmm. And man, I've been going over to their house playing the shit out that game. And I'm like, damn, do I need to get back in the game and get a PlayStation? I would rock with PlayStation because I love the controller. Like playing Tony Hawk on PS4 recently, I'm like, yo, this just feels so right. Like I don't want to play a game if I don't have the dual sticks and I'm you know what I mean? Like that's my comfort zone. So I would do PS5 for sure.
Yeah, I forgot about that game, man. That used to be the game back in the PS2 days.
Bro, that's the game that I played the most, I think.
That got everybody was in the skating when that shit dropped, man. Everybody, the hood niggas, suburban kids, like everybody got in the skating when that. And there was one black man on them games, Kareem Campbell. I remember him. I use him all the time.
Legend. But man, far as stuff that I'm working on, you know, I have this new album out, Exotica. This is my main. This is my baby right now. You know what I mean? I have other stuff that I am developing, but nothing to really speak about yet. But in this mode that we on right now, it's all about Exotica. It's all about getting this album out to as many people as possible. So if anybody out there is listening to this and they dig the album, please share grassroots, get it out to the people.
Yes, sir. I highly recommend it.
Before you go, man, how did you get that dude that was drinking that cranberry juice to do a TikTok to groovy, feeling groovy?
Bro, he just did it. Seriously. And I like DM'd him, thanking him, and he was like, yo, I hope you get a lot of views from it. I like the song. I'm like, damn, man, that just goes to show, like, you never know who is checking you out, bro. You never know.
I'm thinking like, damn, man, Fat Tony must got a good record label behind him, man. That's dope.
Nah,
man.
he like even told me, he was like, bro, you kind of lucky. Like, boys are really paying me for this right now.
That's dope, man. I got a little bit of beef with that dude because of him. Cranberry juice, ocean spray. It's hard to find in stores. Everybody's snatching that shit up, man. I'm like, how am I supposed to mix drinks without no cranberry juice? Dog?
Oh man,
yeah, snatching that shit up, man.
I feel your pain, bro.
That's cool though, man. So yes, Gyms and Juice approved. Everybody check out the new album by Fat Tony, Exotica. You can find it on all streaming services. I also recommend you buy it on Bandcamp. Support the artist. Especially when you independent, support the independent artists and buy it on Bandcamp if you can.
I'm waiting on my vinyl, man. I bought the vinyl.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a 3-color vinyl, and you know what? For like people that ordered the vinyl early, we made all these scratch off tickets.
Oh shit!
Ticket, you get a remix of Gambling Man. That same mariachi band that's in the music video, we hired them to record a remix of the album, and we put it all together, and it sounds really beautiful. It's harp, it's violin, trumpet, guitar, bass. Like it is available for all the album vinyl buyers now, but I'm gonna put it out on all streaming services the first week of December, and man, it just sounds like classical music. Like, we made this mariachi version with the intent of being respectful to the genre. Like, we weren't trying to do no novelty shit or no fusion of like rap with mariachi. Like, we're doing a traditional mariachi song, just using our songwriting, and I think y'all gonna love that. It's special.
That's crazy, man. Like, you're a true artist, Fat Tony. I'm not just saying that because you here, man, but it's like, I feel like with you never know what you gonna get next. Like, a mariachi remix of a hip hop album is crazy, dog. So
yeah,
that's some real artistic shit, man.
And then everything you're doing, because the one show I went to, I was looking at your merch, and you had like coffee. It's just super creative, man. Like, you know, I feel like a regular 101 how to be a rapper person would just have, you know, just the album, t-shirt, and call it a day, and that's it. But you step out the way to do something creative that nobody else is doing, and it's
more fun that way.
Yeah, I respect that.
Me too, man. Me too. So yes, everybody get that. Follow him at Fat Tony on all social media platforms as well. What's that?
Fat Tony Rap.
Fat Tony Rap, yeah. Fat Tony Rap.
Fat Tony Rap everywhere.
Yes, sir. Check him out on Eric Andre's show in a few weeks too. Get the album. And that's it, man. We out. Thank you again, Fat Tony. Really appreciate it, bro.
Thank y'all, man. Much love. I love coming on this show. Holler at me anytime, for real.
Oh, for sure. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna run it back again for sure.
Much love, y'all.
I was standing in the back of the crowd, smoking black and I'm out, cause I'm black and I'm proud. When I saw you from the back, in the back of the aisle, and I couldn't bat back when you glanced with a smile.